Hello students, welcome to the class. In this video, we will be looking at the vocabulary and spelling part of Unit 4 and 5 of Semester 4, which contains information about abbreviations, acronyms, and initialisms. Now we'll be looking at what abbreviations mean, and what are acronyms and initialisms and their interrelationships in this video. Now, let's look at this little passage. Mr. Srinivasan is a PhD in astrophysics. His areas of interest include space research, space expeditions, etc. He works at ISRO. His achievements were recently broadcasted on BBC. Now, what exactly are the words MR, PhD, ETC, ISRO, and BBC? Yes, as you know, they are called as abbreviations. But are all of them abbreviations? Actually, Mr., PhD, etc. are called abbreviations, and ISRO is an acronym for Indian Space Research Organization, and BBC is an initialism for British Broadcasting Corporation. So we'll be trying to understand the differences and also the relationships between these three terms in this video. Now let's look at the first one, that is abbreviations. What are abbreviations? Now abbreviations are shortened forms of words or phrases. So we use MR for Mr. Mr is a Latin word and we use which denotes a man or gentleman. Now DR for doctor and PM for mentioning time after midday, that is post meridian. So these are shortened forms of words or phrases. In our daily life, we use many abbreviations and which are related to many aspects. For example, we use Latin abbreviations like AD, which actually means Anno Domino or in the year of the Lord. Or for example, CV, which is also derived from Latin word curriculum vitae, or EG for example, exempli gratia. Now these are some Latin abbreviations that we use in our everyday life. And abbreviations can also be related to names like Dr. Doctor, Honorable, or Mr., or Miss, Professor. They are shortened forms of the names or titles. And there are some general abbreviations like DEPT for department, EST for established, and so on. And some grammatical terms do also have abbreviated forms like ADJ for adjective or PREP for preposition. Now, how are these different types of abbreviations formed? Now, abbreviations can be formed by shortening a word or phrase or by omitting parts of it. For example, if you look at these some instances where doctor is the complete word, but it is abbreviated as DR. So here it is formed by shortening the word. Memorandum, the abbreviated form is memo. Now here we find that some part of the total word is or some syllables of the word are omitted. Similarly, department can be written as DEPT. Okay, number as NO and mountain as MT. So abbreviations can be formed by shortening a word or phrase or omitting part. Now another way in which abbreviations are formed is also like they are formed for personal names of people. For example, Frederick, you can call it as, can be abbreviated as Fred. Rajesh can be abbreviated as Raj, or Timothy as Tim. Now, you will observe that for some written abbreviations, individual letters or sounds from the word are used, although the word is always said in full. Doctor, though we are only using two letters from the total word, that is D and R, but the word doctor is always said whenever you write DR. Similarly, for example, though we only use EG for example and Gracia, but we always say the total word, that is for example. 5 kilometers, though we write 5 km, it is always said as 5 kilometers. So DIV, DIY, do it yourself. Now, another way that abbreviations are formed is by omitting one or more syllables from a word. This is sometimes called as clipping because we keep the beginning of the word and clip the rest of the word. For example, the abbreviated form of advertisement is advert or ad, where the first syllable is actually kept and all the other syllables are removed or clipped. Examination, the abbreviated form is exam. Photograph can also be called as photo. Now let's come to the second category. Now, what are initialisms? Now, initialisms do also come under the umbrella of abbreviations, but these are words or abbreviations which are formed from the first letters of the other words and in which each letter is pronounced separately. For example, All India Radio has an abbreviation AIR. Here, A, I, and R are the initial letters of three words All India Radio, and they are put together to form the abbreviation, but still each letter is being pronounced separately. They are not treated as a separate word. Similarly, British Broadcasting Corporation has an abbreviation BBC, or IIT is for Indian Institute of Technology, and IIM is an initialism for Indian Institute of Management. Sometimes even names can have initialisms, or we can say initials. Initials refer to the first letters of people's first names. When we fill forms, we are sometimes asked to state our surname or initials. When we refer to ourselves using initials, it is more formal. For example, John Sukumar Shakati. Here, the full name is recorded without any initials, whereas the second part, S. John Sukumar, is using an initial. So when you use initials, the name becomes more formal. Now, let's look at the third category, that is acronyms. Now, acronyms also come under the umbrella of abbreviations, and they are similar to initialisms in the manner that these are abbreviations are formed from the first letters of all the other words, but they are pronounced as a totally new full word. For example, North Atlantic Treaty Organization, the abbreviation for it is NATO. Okay, now NATO are not pronounced separately as NATO, but it is pronounced as a full word, that is NATO. So this is one little difference between an initialism and an acronym. In an initialism, the letters of the abbreviation are pronounced separately, whereas in an acronym, they are pronounced as a full new word. Similarly, SCUBA is for self-contained underwater breathing apparatus, or radar is for radio detection and ranging. So there are many acronyms that we find in our usage in everyday life. Now, in social media, it has become a very practice of using many acronyms or abbreviations. For example, BRB could mean be right back, or DYK could mean did you know, and BTW could mean by the way, or TL or DR could mean too long didn't read, or TGIF could mean thank God it's Friday. So there are many abbreviated forms and acronyms used on social media and which are very popular. Right, so we have come to the end of this video. Now this is a small introduction to abbreviations, acronyms and initialisms. You can pursue your interest more, and if you have any queries you can contact us in the number given or send mail to our departmental ID or post a query. on the departmental blogspot. Thank you for watching the video. Good day.